Good afternoon. It is a Sunday, kind of noon now, coming up at 11:30. Just taking it easy today. Might have a little cold or something. I did notice a little scratchy throat, but not enough to slow me down. What we got to talk about? There's a lot going on. You probably know. You've probably been paying attention. In the mountains, there's a winter storm warning that goes into effect. It stays into effect through Monday night into Tuesday. And they're going to get a lot of snow. But at first, at higher elevations, there's a live camera, eastbound 80. And you can see traffic going slow coming up over the pass going westbound. But it's kind of rainy out there right now. And so we can let's take another look at another camera while we're here. Oops. Yeah, let's not. It's kind of rainy out there right now. So some of the snow levels are kind of going to stay high, and then they're going to drop down as we go into tomorrow and tomorrow night. So foothill snow possible. Snow levels down to 4,000 feet, but not today. Today, temperatures are kind of on the mild to warm side. Snowfall in the mountains with that winter storm warning. I mean, they're calling for Mount Shasta could get 4 or 5 feet of snow, right? So we'll keep an eye on that. That's a lot of snow. They're going to get a bunch of snow up high, up at Palisades and at Homewood and places like that up at the top. But down low, I think it's going to be real wet, high water content snow, but also some rain, especially in the next 24 to 36 hours. So what do we do? Let's go right to the model. Oh, what are we going to do today? We're going to talk about the models and where'd the atmospheric river go, right? It still plays into this forecast. That's why the copious amounts of snowfall up around northeast California and even at the higher elevations of Lake Tahoe. So the atmospheric river, it's not going to hit us, boom, like a freight train, but there is increased moisture from what could have been and could still be, but probably won't be an atmospheric river. In other words, atmospheric rivers are just a component of high warm air, high water content, and they are, they can produce a lot. It's how we get most of our rain. Absolutely. That's how, if we didn't have atmospheric rivers, that's why we make it like it's a disaster. But it's like, no, that's a normal part of California weather. It's a normal part of everybody's weather because the atmospheric rivers translate as they move across the country and drop more rain into the desert southwest and so on and so forth. Okay, and we're going to look at the birds, the eagles. We're going to look at the skiing, and we're going to, I don't know, we'll probably, who knows. But we'll get to the weather right now. So here is the GFS. This is the most recent run. And you can see there's some wind out there, wind advisories on parts of the coast. Wind advisory, what is it? A small craft advisory along the coast, sorry. Okay, so here we go. Model right now. There's the rain. This is right now, and this is this afternoon. So first thing you see, if you notice, see how things point to the north, that's a warmer air mass that's kind of coming in. So that's why the snow levels around Lake Tahoe are going to stay pretty at pass level or above for the next hours. And then it drops down significantly on Monday afternoon, evening. So that's right. What do you do with that? So you could probably get some stuff done, but it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be dry. And then this is tomorrow morning. And you see how it's sort of dropping in a little bit. That's a jet stream lowering down a little bit. That's those dash lines represent thicknesses, and that's cooler air. We'll talk about that some other time. But you see those purple dash lines, these guys. That's a measure of the atmosphere. The atmosphere can measure in thicknesses. Warmer air has a higher thickness. Colder air, we're going vertical now from the surface aloft. So thickness is a way to tell temperature change, right? It's the air mass. So if I have an air mass like this, and I'm going from the equator, where it's pretty, right, it's a thermal expansion, it's pretty high, thick air mass, and I move it north, it's going to compress because it's cooling. And as it cools, it compresses a little bit. So the air column becomes less. So the lower the heights, the colder the air. That's what I probably should have said. Either way, let's do that some other time. Let's look at this forecast for Monday morning. So a little bit cooler in the Tahoe. I think Monday, now they're dropping down. Those isotherm, or the thicknesses are dropping down, and you see rain and snow. Now at this point, tomorrow afternoon, you will start to see snow down around below Blue Canyon, and then even further as we get to this point, but then the moisture source goes away. And that makes sense too, because cooler air, when it comes in, is carrying less moisture typically. But that atmospheric river is omnipresent along our coast, and we'll see that coming up. But what I mean omnipresent is that moisture is just there. It's not a continuous line of like a traditional AR. It's not. I consider an AR to be many hundreds, maybe thousands of miles long and extending from the subtropics and that blue line. This is not the case, and I'll show you that coming up. So I'm taking this whole week is going to be squirrely, right? We already talked about this, and that's fine. That's fine. We didn't hang our hat too hard on the AR, right? We were just like, okay, we kind of get it. This thing's all over the place, and now it's still all over the place, and something could change. But right now, it looks like it's going to be what it is, which is higher snow levels today and tonight, and then lowering snow levels with significant snow and some added moisture component to that from the AR. Okay, this is Tuesday morning. And then you see the bullseye up around Portland, this bullseye here. And it's a Tuesday, kind of maybe a thunder shower. This is Tuesday mid-morning, right? So that's that Tuesday looks like foothill snow for sure. If you can get some moisture into Grass Valley, blows places. So, and then we go on, right? And this is day after day. Now we're into Saturday, next Sunday. So, right? So you'll see what we're talking about. So here's the AR, right? There it is. And watch this. So see how it drops away, kind of, where'd it go? Now, do you see the green? The green represents increased moisture as well. It's just not. This is what we would consider an AR right here. That thing hitting you full brunt. That's when you get headlines. This is certainly as a component of the AR because the moisture is being introduced because that big moisture plume sits offshore. But as we go through the week, look what it does. It just sort of like doesn't really impact us other than residual moisture. And then here, see that little line of yellow, green going through? That is on Tuesday, April 8th. That's a little something. And then see that line? Now that's an AR, right? Now that's more typical. Okay, right? Is it a newsbreaker AR? No, not really, but that's intact moisture plume coming from the subtropics. So, and that is on, I think this is the Friday thing. Let's take a look. So kind of what I'm doing right now is, see, that's the Friday thing. So that looks like next Thursday afternoon into Friday looks pretty wet next week. And then we can come in closer. I know. This is sort of, you're living in my world now, which is, and I know you guys, I know you're into this stuff. So these are what the models are saying. Now this is just in one model, the GFS, but they're all within reasonably close, especially when you're going out many days. But you can see why, let's just go 24 hours at a time, which is what I would like to do. And that's what we are doing, quite frankly, going 24 hours at a time. And not really forecasting any catastrophic anything other than, I think in the northeast part of the state, California, MacArthur, Bernie, those areas, you guys can get a bunch of snow, especially on Tuesday. So this is the GFS. Again, AR up close. This is right now, Sunday morning. You see the green, and then see the clear areas are the dry air masses, or the drier air mass, right? So you see how, first of all, you see the winds. Wow, the surface winds is blowing. Actually, those aren't surface winds. Those can't be. That's 400 millibars, sorry. But you see that moisture plume, and then you see it dry out on Wednesday morning. So this is your best chance for snow in the foothills, right here, right? And see that moisture plume, the green, right? So it's subtle stuff, man. And then dries out. That's when you get a chance of some thunder showers because there's going to be some moisture around. And then, right? So you see that AR stays offshore, except for that deal, and that's Tuesday. And then we'll see the Friday one. That's that one we just broke apart Friday. I know, right? It's kind of fun. It's a little frustrating because you want to, I see, and I always have seen this, and because I have friends who are just geniuses, meteorologists, the ones that are real meteorologists, because trust me, most of what you see is not real meteorology. I'm a meteorologist, but I don't even consider myself a real meteorologist. I have friends like Doug Stenton, Johnny Farley, who you remember from KMTV, who else? Just Clemens down at San Jose State. They're hardcore badass meteorologists, but we are all looking at the same thing, and we have our limitations. And what you see a lot of times is the less people know, the more they hang their hat on the models because they don't want to be wrong. So the model said this, well, the model was wrong, I wasn't wrong. right? What we're doing is you and me are interpreting this as we go, and we're interpreting not just based on hours on the Earth, but we're interpreting the models based on our own experiences and on looking at all the resources, all the different possible resources, and using local knowledge to progress the forecast. So some guy in Washington can't give you, he's pushing you the model data, but when you know what you do, you call Billy Hudson up at Olympic Valley if you want to find out what's happening and what he thinks is going to happen, especially after I show him these models. So you get what I'm saying? Yeah. So the more people hang on the models, the more I hang away from them. Models are awesome. They're guidance. That's what they call it. It's called model guidance. It's not calling model fact. It's model guidance. It's guidance. It's something you should use the models as a way to triangulate your way into a forecast. Wow. Yeah. Right. Okay. So so don't buy it. I love meteorology and I love the science. And I love real meteorologists, but most people aren't. Just TV has taken that out of the realm of normalcy. It used to be they were none. Then a guy like Pete Giddings shows up in the Bay Area. He's a real meteorologist. I worked with Mark Thompson. He wasn't a real meteorologist, but he was. He cared a lot, so he knew like Jan Knoll and Mark Thompson were really close. And Jan was the head of the National Weather Service. And that time it was Redwood City, and Mark worked closely with him. Now that's smart. That's smart. But you get people who take a couple classes and they think they know what they're talking about, and it's way more complex than that. It is. I'm not busting nut on anybody. I'm just saying it's hard for you. I'm just trying to help you guys kind of weave through this. Oh, a lot of philosophy today. Okay, so this is the accumulated rainfall, and that footprint looks right. That looks okay. That looks wintry to me. That looks actually age appropriate or time appropriate for this time of year. And then watch what happens on that Friday event. Is that Friday? Watch, you'll see it pop in right there, Friday. And then it loads up. So that Friday thing, remember that AR we looked at that real skin when that's at? Yeah, it's way out. It's fantasy land. Okay, we did weather. That was awesome. A little bit of everything there, but I appreciate your patience. And if you don't want to watch it, I mean, that was a lot. I should probably do the weather quicker and then get to the philosophy stuff later. But you guys know. Oh, my wife started making nut juice. Like I guess you put water and like almonds and stuff, and you grind it up. Dude, it's so awesome. It's like, I don't even know what the thing is. It's like a grinder, grinds the nuts and purees them kind of, and then you throw water in there and you throw some dates in there. It's like a damn milkshake, and it's chock full of protein. It's awesome. I drink it all day. Anyway, okay, so back where we're going. There's California. Let's see what, I can tell you, I can show you what we can see. Let's see this. That's cold air, right? So here's the warmer air kind of, see that kind of, just kind of visualize it. And the cold air, remember we talked about tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night? That's the cool air that's going to work its way into the foothills on Monday into Tuesday and drop snow down to perhaps 4,000 feet. But not today and not tonight and maybe not even until tomorrow afternoon. But that's the weather change, and you can see it. So when you see the low here, right? Kind of see it spinning around, and then that's advecting or pushing in this cold air from the north. And the way you know it's cold air, I say this all the time, but you guys, it's when you look at satellite images, it's just like that's open-celled cumulus. It's over a really cold ocean, but the ocean is warmer than the air because the air is coming from the polar regions. So that warmer air, which is cold air, is blowing over which is perceived as a warmer ocean, and the air rises into it, and you get convection, which is just a thunderstorm, thunderstorm in this case. And I think we will see some thunderstorms in this air mass potentially as we go into the next 36 hours. This is the watches. These are the watches and warnings from today, and you can see where everything is. There's the wind, which is all verifying. We're seeing gusts up to 45 miles an hour already. We've got the winter storm warning along the spine of the Sierra Nevada all the way south. That lasts through Tuesday. And then you got the fire concerns out here in New Mexico. Day after day after day of fire concerns. New Mexico, parts of southern Colorado. You've got tornado watches and advisories for here. And then you've got winter storm stuff up here. And what we're going to see in here tomorrow, and I'll show it to you right now, is severe weather. The potential in that zone tomorrow is for thunderstorms, severe weather, a real severe weather outbreak that's going to impact millions of people, big cities along the eastern seaboard. So in terms of flying tomorrow, this is the forecast. Tomorrow, certainly Atlanta, New York, Philadelphia, some of those areas are going to be kind of a drag getting into. And then you can see our forecast for tomorrow, a little bit of everything, some scattered showers, snow in the mountains, but still not, the snow levels aren't really quite that low yet, but you can kind of get an idea. You go snapshot. Okay, tomorrow's going to be, you're flying somewhere, Denver's going to be impacted. No, not too much, I guess. Chicago's not too bad. Dallas, the ones I always find is Denver, Chicago, missed the ball, and Dallas. When those get bad weather, those are the big hubs. Those have a tendency to snowball the other flights, even if you're not going anywhere near there. This is Alturas, which is beautiful, and they're northeast California, kind of in the rain shadow, if you will, of the coastal range in the Sierra or in the Cascades. And let's put a little loop on it because we're here now. If you're watching now, you're in with me. So we're just going to do it because I want to do it. And we did the forecast, so I feel pretty good about that. I think this is one of the most beautiful places in California. Oh, look at that rain shaft come through. Wasn't that awesome? Did you see that? That's awesome. And another rain shaft to the north. You can see the shafts, right? There's another shaft. Oh, that's awesome. See the rain? And what you're seeing is, oh, it's beautiful. North of here or west of here, you're getting significant rain. But what you're getting here is because you're on the backside of the hills, you're getting a dried out environment, rain shadow effect. And so that's why you could see the breaks so clearly. On the other side of the hill, west slope of the Trinity Alps and Mount Shasta and Lassen, it's raining and snowing to beat the band. This is Point Richmond. Again, I've fallen in love with this view. I'm going to loop that too. And thanks for bearing with me. And then you'll see again, same thing, rain. That's kind of day it's going to be. It's kind of day it has been. Again, right now it's not quite lunchtime, but it's awesome. Beautiful place you live. We talked about that yesterday too, right? It's an awesome place. This is a new camera I haven't used before. This is Muir Beach Overlook. And Muir Beach to me is one of the prettiest beaches. This is right off Highway 1 when you're going up over the hill. How's that work? If you're going Highway 1, yeah, if you're going past Highway 1, you go by Olema. Not Olema, you go by, I can't remember that little Irish pub that's right at Muir Beach. But anyway, you're going up over the hill on your way to Stenson. But the thing to note is you can see the white caps outside. You can see the rain. It's windy along the coast today. It's really windy. So wind gusts probably going to go 40, 45 miles an hour. This is, where are we? Oh, Santa Barbara. I guess we're in Santa Barbara right now. We just shifted gears fast. A lot of the cameras were kind of rained out. I think that's it's Santa Barbara. Same thing. So they're getting showers further south. And again, this rain is helpful for birds, bees. It's helpful for fire. It's helpful for air quality. So these later rains are really a joy. And we looked at the 8-station index yesterday, remember? And what did we see? We saw that we had, let's see if I can do this. I want to do this. We had really good water in that northern part of the state, which is where most of our water for the state comes from. Like we're right at about 102 or 103, 105% of rainfall average for these 8 stations, which are critical. We're going to go above that with this next storm. So in terms of rainfall in the Northern California 8-station index, crushing it right now, which is awesome, right? That's, that I can feel good about it. Okay, Ocean Beach, big, not giant, but big, like 5 to 7, and windy. I'll tell you what, I've walked out there so many times when sometimes you can see the sand blowing. I don't know if you can see it now, but the sand, it's when you live in the avenue. My parents, my grandparents, everybody used to live out in the avenue. It's toward West Portal, but they went to the beach a lot. But you get sand blasted. That's a huge, just sand everywhere. The Great Highway, and that's the other thing about when they closed it, they have to clean it. You'd be surprised how often they have to plow the Great Highway because the sand, I've seen it just pile up. It's like snow in North Dakota with the kind of the, how the wind blows it into what do they call them, piles or drifts. There's a lot of sand drifts on the Great Highway. Okay, so this is but nobody got back to me on this. I was curious what you guys all thought, but these are kayakers, and this is a good day for them to be out there competing, right? These are river kayaks. I think it's okay on a day like today because it's like a river. But in the ocean, when they're like yesterday, they were out there and guys are surfing around them, and it's kind of like, okay, you got to paddle. It's like having a motor, right? Most surfers don't have paddles or laying down. So kayaks you're at a huge advantage for catching a wave, like a huge advantage. But you're also dangerous because you can't steer it very well, especially if you fall off of it and it hits you. So I'm not a huge fan of kayaks in the surf, although they've obviously, I mean, I am a huge fan of it, actually. If you're not on the main break, right? I would stay off the main breaks if I was a kayaker. You can chime in if you want. I get it. I have a kayak too, so I get it. This is, I was just thinking this today, I'm always curious what people, because old man Martin here, the things I remember are the rules from the 1940s or something, you know? And you guys, like, things have changed. The world's changed. My kids tell me all the time, they go, hey, Dad, the world's changed. Just move on. And it's nice, and I accept that. I just have to know, like, did it change? Is it cool to do that? Is it not cool? Is it okay to do that? How do people feel about that? And every day I'm learning stuff, so I'm happy I have kids, and you guys. This is San Diego. Been 3 to 4 foot in San Diego all winter long, essentially. So they've had it's San Diego, not known for its wintertime surf. And same with Southern LA too, but they've had really a nice little run of waves. So I'm happy for them. This is, I wanted to show you this before we got to the birds. This is the surface map. And this, whoops, I want to get rid of that. Let's do this. Why are you doing that to me? Hang on. Oh, well, I don't know why I'm doing that. Okay, well, we're doing it anyway. This is the surface map. And you can see the winds, and we look at the wind barbs. So if I go right here, Sacramento, see it? So what I should do, the winds are blowing south. They're coming from the back of the flags to the ball, right? The ball is the arrow. That's the wind direction right now as of the last, I don't know if it's hourly anymore or if it actually comes up more accurate frequently than that. I should know. That's 20 knots. See the two flags? Each equals 10 knots, 20 knots. So let's go up here and just do a little math equation. Let's do a little bit of calculus here and go. I'm just joking about the calculus, but let's go up to Lake Tahoe where we know it's windy. We'll go up to, okay, well, first thing you notice is, okay, awesome. We're doing it. So this is Lake, or Mount Pluto, so that's North Star. And you can see first thing that number right there represents the gust, 31 mile an hour gusts, and sustained at 2 big lines, 10 knots plus 10 knots, 20 knots, blowing from the southwest. Out on the lake, blowing almost due south. It's sustained winds at 15 knots, big long one, short half one, 10 and 5, 15 knots, and gusting to 23. Out in the middle of the lake, this is interesting, it's only sustained at 5 knots, or that's 10 knots, and gusting to 28. The thing that hits me right off the bat is look at the temperature right now, 39 degrees. Look at the temperature up on top of the mountain, it's 30 degrees, so it's warm. This is warm weather for the lake, so that's why snow levels are pretty high and you're getting rain at the lower elevations. We can do that now. Wow, we're going long today, but I know, right? Maybe you're drinking your coffee with me. These are people who I love. This is the top of Heavenly, and they're saying 29 degrees, which is awesome. Yeah, they're getting some snow up there. Down at the base, it's going to be probably more like 32 or 34. But I love seeing look at the wind. See the wind blowing? It's going off. Oh, it's windy up there. Well, we did see the gusts, right? Yeah. I love it when you can see weather. That's awesome. Okay. I don't blame you guys if you all went away because now I'm in this for me right now. Oh, look at that. I would call that, that's impressive. I'll bet there's a lot of cold people down in the lodge right now eating French fries. I would try to stay out to get my money's worth, but I don't know how long I could withstand it. Okay, there's, that looks like Jackie based on Flathead. The babies are getting big. Oh, I got some eagle nuggets. You may be happy you stuck around. So Jackie, who I believe that is, the female, she's 13 years old, estimated. And then shadow is 11 years old. I think they're one of the first pair of eaglets born in the Big Bear area. And that's why they have a ferocious bond. Most eagles do mate for life. Some don't, though. Occasionally they'll change. What do we got? Oh, the top of they're at $145, 145 feet up in the tree. They like to breed from January to July. So they keep the nest for years. I got stuff here. Hang on. Oh, they live to be 20 or 25 years old. That's exciting. They can live longer, I think, if they are, if things go well. Like I've heard up to 30 or 35. The nest, so you're like, okay, how big is that bird? Well, check this out. The nest is about 6 feet by 6 feet. What? How does that work? Like, that makes her 3 feet, which is about right. Is that right? Yeah. So I think the angle, it's the lens on the camera. Let's see. Oh, and the babies stay in the nest. You can see the babies down there. They're eating great, by the way, in case you're worried about that. They have their down feathers in, so they're not. They can withstand the cold. They did lose one of the babies, as you know, last 3 weeks ago now during that huge winter storm. But they didn't. These babies now are starting to get their down in, so they have a way to protect against the cold. And honestly, they're kind of doing pretty good in terms of weather-wise. The forecast has been good, and they've grown substantially. So the babies, I'd love to get a scale on it, how big they are right now. But they are, they get up, I think they get up to 10, 12 pounds before they fly out. And they last in the nest for 10 to 14 weeks. And that's it. I have other stuff too. And the other thing they do too, which is interesting, is they do a move where they have different nests around the area, which I didn't know. In other words, like not all of them, but sometimes they have different nests around the area. And so I always wonder where Jackie goes. She may have a nest that she kind of goes to sit at while Shadow's feeding the babies. I'm not sure of that. I could check deeper into that. But they don't. Sometimes they're not just. It's not just one nest. It's a network sometimes. This is winds are blowing kind of a little offshore. That's Halama. Kind of a fun day up there, actually. I can't believe nobody's out. But the weather's not great. They're getting some scattered showers there. And then one more shot. We'll go to Palisades, Tahoe. And yeah, see, first thing, what do you notice, right? Talking about warm. Look at the parking lot. That's not snow. It's rain. And that's sort of a drag. Just because I know, and then you see the mound. This is actually, believe it or not, that is all snow. Let me get my pointer going. If you knew this, that's all snow. It looks like a dirt mound, but that's where they take the snow from the parking lot when they're clearing it out. So it's just dirty because that's been getting, but yeah, it's rainy up there. So things are going to get better at Palisades as we go into Monday night, Tuesday. And better, when I say better, I mean you're going to get snow. Like right now, see, they're getting a little snow. This is the top of the mountain, but that's rain, right? Snow levels are going to drop as we get into Monday night, Tuesday. But yeah, that's kind of rain too. Yeah, ew. Okay, I'm sorry if you're up there now, but take heart. I know it's spring break for a lot of folks and kids. The skiing is going to get awesome as we get into Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But the caveat's going to be you can have an avalanche concern. So stay in bounds. The avalanche concern comes from the rain, freezing, and then snow, a bunch of snow, 2 to 3, 4 feet of snow going to fall on top of that ice layer. So this avalanche concern is going to be a thing. Okay, I'd be interested if you hung out. I could see why my wife didn't hang out. She's gone. She probably went to the store or something. But today's an interesting day. It's just fun looking at all the pictures. We know what we're doing. We know what we know.